If you saw a paper this weekend or went online, you'll know that there were many more allegations of deeply inappropriate sexual behaviour at Westminster. One MP went on the record as saying that it is absolutely rife with sexism. So, obviously, no one thinks this is a good thing. So what does Parliament need to do to change? Well, joining us now is the University's Minister Michelle Donelan. We're going to talk about what you want to talk about as well in a moment, tutoring and advantages for schools and getting them involved. But first of all, what is your personal experience? Have you experienced sexism and inappropriate behaviour? And first of all, how did you handle it? Let's start from there.
Thank you. Well, I've been an MP for nearly 7 years now, and from my own personal experience, I haven't experienced any of these types of incidences or misogyny. And I do think that this is a minority of people in Parliament that we absolutely must call out, that we must name and we must shame, and we must make sure that this kind of behaviour does not continue. It wouldn't be acceptable in any workplace, let alone in Parliament, which should be leading by example. Let's be honest about that. And I'm probably just as alarmed as you are reading some of these stories. Well,
maybe it's been a self-selecting panel of witnesses then, but you're the first woman MP, politician, that I've heard over the last 3 or 4 days to say that you've absolutely had no experience of this at all. I mean, really, none at all.
No, none at all. I think there have been others that have said that as well. And it is the minority. You know, these are misogynistic dinosaurs that have no place in our Parliament. We have the process now for people to come forward and complain. We need to stamp it out. I think it's really worrying for democracy. What message does it send to brilliant people that might want to become members of Parliament? It certainly doesn't encourage them to do so.
No.
Also, what message does it send to constituents? It doesn't exactly encourage them to contact their member of Parliament either.
Of course, it's clearly wrong. It's what to do about it, so it's a challenge. Caroline Notes, Conservative MP, has suggested making an all-female shortlist on the ballot at elections would help to get more women into Parliament and then to positions of power ultimately. Is that a solution?
Well, I think that misses the point here. It's not the case that, you know, women are good, men are bad. This is the minority of people. It's not acceptable. Yes, we do need to act. I personally think that quotas are really demeaning to women. Women can get there on their own merit. We need to encourage them, break down the barriers. And we've done that in my party. We've had 2 female prime ministers. Labour haven't even come close. We've got a female Home Secretary. We've got a female Foreign Secretary. But quotas are certainly not the answer.
Well, it's been widely said over the weekend, it's been said before, actually, but it's really crystallising now. I'd like to know what you think about this, that without making any excuses at all, it's the circumstances and the atmosphere at Westminster which is leading to this problem, however widespread or not it may be. One, you've got the toxicity of power, and particularly male power, and the way some men abuse that power, particularly over young women. You've got the fact that you've got very, very late night working, some of these votes taking place well after midnight, and at the same time you've got all these bars in Westminster which are open. So you've got male toxicity, late night working away from home, in many cases hundreds of miles away from home, and a culture of alcohol. Let's look at that. Do you think the bars should be closed after, say, 8 o'clock?
Well, I think they are excuses, to be honest. You know, doctors and nurses work around the clock and they don't behave in this way. Many people go for a work drink after work with their colleagues. They don't behave in this way. People should be able to behave in a responsible way. Alcohol is not an excuse for sexual assault or harassment or abuse of any nature. There are fundamental problems that these people who I go back to this point, they are misogynistic dinosaurs that are behaving in this way.
Should we shut the bars? Should we shut the bars? Are the bars open too late?
I don't think that is the correct solution, because I think that, you know, if we are all responsible people, you can go for a drink. Personally, I very rarely go to the bars, but I don't think that is the solution behind this. It's about using the process that we have, making sure that people come forward and make those complaints, naming and shaming these individuals, and making sure that they know that this is going to be called out and they're not going to get away with it.
Well, you say they're misogynistic dinosaurs, and, you know, I hope they are going to become extinct like that, and indeed are as small a number of bad apples, as you say. But at one of the Downing Street parties, right at the heart of government, which shouldn't have taken place anyway because it was in lockdown. Apparently, and it's widely reported, an award was given of Sexist of the Year. Now, even if that was just a joke, I don't believe they would have awarded Racist of the Year as a joke. So it's not being taken seriously right at the heart of government.
Well, I don't think that report has been substantiated, and absolutely anything of that nature is completely wrong. There's no room for any form of misogyny in our politics.
So you would name and shame Downing Street then, would you?
As I said, I don't believe that report has been substantiated. If that is true, it shouldn't have taken place, but it hasn't been substantiated. And we've seen dramatic reforms of Downing Street by the Prime Minister since the incidences that have taken place following the recommendations of Sue Gray.
Listen, just before we come on to what you want to talk about, which is extra tutoring in schools, one more question about this. You must have seen the Neil Parish interview over the weekend where he basically held his hands up and admitted everything. What was your feeling about the tone of that interview? Did you accept his apology?
Well, I watched it like I'm sure thousands of people watched it, but it doesn't take away from how alarming this story is and how shocking it is. I'm sure he's very sorry, but sorry doesn't wash it, really, for me.
And does it say something about the atmosphere in Westminster, that never mind that he chose to do what he did, but he thought he could get away with it? He just thought that the atmosphere there was such that it was not inappropriate to watch pornography in the House of Commons.
Well, look, I wouldn't have thought that. Many of my colleagues wouldn't have thought that. I don't know where he was coming from on this. And it is as shocking for me as it is for you. I was gobsmacked when I saw that headline. I thought it must have been a mistake at first, because the majority of people in Parliament are working really hard for their constituents, including my male colleagues who are trying to deliver day in, day out.
Now, so on tutoring, which I know you want to talk about, and I do too, because I've got a 16-year-old days away from starting her GCSEs, and the mummy WhatsApp groups are a frenzy, as my friends across the country are. We've all been hearing about this tutoring, but what schools are saying to us is it's way too late. They've been trying for months and months and months to get their hands on the money. They've been trying for months and months and months to get clarity on what the exams are going to be and whether they're happening. So to write to them now and say, why haven't you applied, is frankly insulting when they've been trying to get something from the government.
Well, we've been working with schools throughout this process. This has been up and running. Over 1 million courses have already been completed by the tutoring programme. So it is working. We've committed to 6 million within the 3 years. 6 out of 10 schools are involved in the tutoring programme. The letter is designed to encourage those remaining 4 to sign up so that we can support people both in primary school and in secondary school to really fill in some of those gaps that may have occurred because of the impact that the pandemic had on both education, attainment and provide that support.
OK, I'll feed that back. That's all. That's good to speak to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Michelle Donelan, thank you.